Mr. Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you? Sorry so much for the delay. When you are running a city like New York,
Yep.
it's a city that never sleeps, so I can't even take a nap.
Hey, first and foremost, Mr. Mayor, your man Ed Mermerstein did a great job being your sidekick prior to your arrival. I know that you've had a very busy evening so far. Thank you so much for joining us. But guys, this is New York. Things happen very fast, right? He's calling from his nice limousine. He's very excited to be part of this. Just to let you know, I consider the mayor a very good friend of mine. This is my second fireside chat with the mayor. I must have visited with you, 10 times so far, right? We've had, amazing MOUs with Korean Airlines and SPC. And I know you've been a big champion of South Korean opportunities in Korea. And the Koreans have been very good to you too as well. So without further delay, let me just give you guys a very formal introduction of Mayor Adams, because I think he deserves a very special recognition. I look at Eric Adams as a very seasoned leader. He's not just a politician, but he's an amazing seasoned leader. He is the 110th mayor of New York City. And as we all know, New York is considered to be one of the most prominent and influential cities in the world, if not the best. With the mayor's deep understanding of public safety and crime prevention, he's going to turn New York City into a major, major powerhouse. You know, I was just in New York City a couple of months ago, and the leadership that the mayor provides to the citizens of New York City is amazing. You know, even me as a Korean American, visiting New York City, I went on Korean Airlines to go to New York City. I had my coffee at Paris Baguette. In fact, at Hudson Yards, which is a new development that even the mayor's been very involved with, I was able to ride a complimentary Hyundai Genesis car to a few places that I went. So when you have three prominent Korean companies like that involved, and the mayor being involved, it's very, very special. So, Mr. Mayor, again, thank you so much. I'd appreciate if you would, for the sake of some timing, maybe provide a 5-6 minute, introduction to what you're doing in the city, and we can have a follow-up, Q&A.
Thank you so much. You are just an amazing friend and advisor, and you have used as well as our business leaders. I was in Seoul many years ago, and I just saw how well you and the leaders there are really focused on how to prepare Korea for the future. And I think part of that preparation is the relationships we're developing. We have the largest Korean communities in America is here in New York City. And I am looking forward to our conversation about the many issues that concern our city and our community. And at the top of the list is public safety, as well as investment opportunities and immigration. New York City and Korea have much in common, including a deeply rooted culture of innovation and entrepreneurship. You guys have defined what innovation is all about, and we're really excited about continuing to lean into this. Our first visit to Korea as a state senator and was inspired by your high-tech infrastructure and sustainability energy sector. You knew the climate change was a real concern long before people were really willing to address it. You were dealing with the renewal of garbage, all the renovation that needed to be done to deal with waste. And I think that we can learn a lot from what you're doing. But like New York City, you're a world leader in technology, business, and pop culture as well. My son reminds me of that all the time. And we are proud that so many of you, your top companies, base their operation in the New York region. We have signed memorandums of understanding to support small businesses and provide access to internship opportunities with companies like Korean Air and Paris Baguette. And Commissioner Mermerstein, who's there with you now, he's in Seoul, and he's here to answer any questions that you may have And, he has been continuously focusing on building a relationship with Korea and New York City. So please seek him out for any additional information. This year marks the 70th anniversary of the long-standing alliance between our nations. That is so impressive. And the relationship between our cities is more than economic and culture. We have a deep and lasting friendship based on shared values. New York City is the soul of America, and we can and must work together to improve life for our millions of residents. Today, let's talk about how we can inspire and support each other to do just that.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. As I said, this must be my 10th face-to-face engagement with the mayor since he took over as the mayor a couple of years ago. I've learned a lot about him, and I think what makes you special, Mr. Mayor, is your leadership. I've seen this man in action. He's working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's hard to find leaders like that. But I want to hear from you. What makes your leadership so unique, so special, and what kind of what kind of lessons have you learned from your previous leadership experiences?
There's an old biblical statement that you can't be a good shepherd if you don't hang out with the sheep. And that is what I focus on. You have to stay on the ground. If you don't stay in the weeds just to get an observation of the product that you are producing, you'll find out too long. You have to inspect what you expect. And you do that by periodically leaving the comfort and sterilized environment of your office environment and go and speak one-on-one with everyday workers. Who's in your factories? Who's building your cars? Who's on your assembly line? Who's developing the next technology? And find out is what you have envisioned for you and those who are serving your city, your company, your corporation, is it actually being materialized on the ground? And that's just what people know about me. I'm not afraid to roll up my sleeve and be there on the ground with those who are producing the product of government. And I'm sure that all of you are on the ground for those who are producing the product of your companies and corporations.
And as I mentioned earlier today, Mr. Mayor will be hosting the UN General Assembly session next week. Therefore, he is still going to be one of the most important figures next week. He's got a wait list of heads of state wanting to meet Mr. Mayor. But at members' time, you're the guys who are going to have to make it happen, right? But Mr. Mayor, this year marks the 22nd anniversary of the tragic events of 9/11. To be candid, Mr. Mayor would have been in Korea had the timing not been, a conflict with the 9/11 scheduling. Mr. Mayor, I was in New York. I was living in New York when the event occurred 22 years ago. I know that you've been very involved with all the ceremonies involving 9/11, and your leadership to calm the nerves is very, very important. Could you reflect how the city has evolved in terms of security measures and preparation since that day?
So important. That day when our World Trade Center was attacked, I was a lieutenant in the police department. My younger brother was a sergeant. We were both members of the NYPD. And it really shattered our confidence, and we were fearful, the level of uncertainty of what was going to happen next. Remember at the time, there was already an attack on the Pentagon. There were other attacks that were foiled because of brave passengers on the plane. And so we didn't know what was next. And when I went to Ground Zero, I saw the buildings were gone. We saw the smoke, the smoldering ground. We couldn't even identify the uniform of the officers because they were filled with so much soot. And it was a very important, significant moment for me. As we give honor to those we lost on 9/11, I always tell people, let's not forget what happened on 9/12. We got up. New Yorkers responded to the terrorist threat that thought they was going to break our spirits, and they responded with a level of heroism that one can imagine. The stores open, teachers taught, builders continue to build, and it sent a strong message that although we were ground zero for terror, we also was ground zero for courage. And I say that as I reflect on what all of us have gone through globally in the pandemic. COVID was not terrorism, but it brought terror. We lost loved ones. Many of our cities had to close at the time. And as we reflect on this 22nd year, we should reflect on how well we recovered. And it should energize us to know that we can recover from anything. And that's my focus as the city continues to cover through COVID and make sure that we come back like we did in September 11, stronger and better and more confident than ever.
As you know, Mr. Mayor, the South Korean population here, along with the military troops here, are really well positioned here in South Korea, given some of the threats, from North Korea. So we share a lot of similar situations as what we did, when we went through in 9/11. But what pivotal lessons has the city learned from 9/11, and also with COVID-19, as you just talked about?
Well, a combination of the importance of information sharing, both 9/11 and COVID-19. We cannot continue to run our cities in silos where we're not sharing information and coordination, but we also cannot run our countries in silos. There was a global call to find a vaccine to deal with COVID. The problems we're facing globally are no longer going to stay within the geographical boundaries of a country. Climate change is not going to stay just in Korea or America. Bad weather patterns, people unable to live on their own soil to produce food, they're going to migrate to other parts of the globe, as we're seeing here and seeing in other parts of the globe. We know that we must see that we are on one planet, and that planet is the only planet we know now where we can exist, so we must coexist. So information sharing was key. Collaboration was key. Willing to share technology was key. And that is what we're doing as we continue to foster better relationships globally to fight against the hate that you see and the harms that come from global conditions.
And Mr. Mayor, I think that South Korea is a very special, destination, and also a company that produces so much technology winners. You talked about information sharing. I look at all the wonderful Korean companies that are leading the way with information. So I hope that U.S., Korea, New York City can work with Korean companies to ensure that the best technology is used to protect in future, emergency situations like that.
Yes, no, and you're right. And that is why information sharing is so important as we learn from the technology that Korea is producing, and our young people will share the technology that we are producing here, because your life experiences in Korea is going to allow you to bring a different approach to solving the problem, and the life experiences of our tech experts here will bring their life experiences. It's the combination of both those life experiences that is going to solve these problems. We cannot find global solutions if we have a local mindset. To find global solutions, we need a global mindset.
And Mr. Mayor, since 2021, Korean companies have committed over $100 billion to America. Companies like Hyundai, look at all the big things that they're doing in America. Samsung, LG, SKs of the world. And I know many of these companies are going to do more in New York City. So let's hope that that partnership of information sharing works. Korean companies are an amazing technology resource for a city like yours. But I know that one of the major challenges you're focused on these days is the migrant crisis. I know that your city has become the epicenter of the crisis. And I think it's because everybody who goes to or wants to come to the United States, New York City seems to be the top destination for everybody. all the immigrants that want to come to New York City. We see that. So can you walk us through the challenges you're faced with and what you're doing to hopefully resolve the situation?
Well, it is a great concern. And when I speak with my global leaders, when I speak with my leaders in Poland or leaders in other countries, they're talking about the global migration. You know, millions of Ukrainian citizens have fled Ukraine because of the war. Many of the people from Venezuela have fled Venezuela because of the conditions that are there. You're seeing people from Western Africa fleeing because of the global climate issues, unable to grow food and take care of their families. This is a global issue, and no one understands it better than New York City. We have received over 110,000 migrants and asylum seekers here in New York City. It's placed a great strain on our economy, costing us billions of dollars. We are looking to find real ways of really absorbing the migrants into the city, but we need help from our federal partners, and that is the call that we're putting out here in New York specifically. But I think each one of the regions across the globe have different approaches on how they want to deal with the migrant crisis that are facing them and their countries. But here in New York, it is really a need to get more federal assistance. The federal government controls immigration policies, and the federal government controls if anyone is allowed to stay or not in the country, not the local cities. And so we need our federal government to really play a bigger role in this issue.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for your leadership on this very challenging situation. And I remain very confident that with your strong leadership, you will get to the bottom of it. But let's talk about something a little bit interesting, which is on tourism. I was in New York, as I said, a couple of months ago. It looks like New York is completely back. So many tourists out there. So what is one of the hidden gems that you want to talk to the Korean audience about that makes New York very special?
Well, you know, very few places you can leave your homeland and then arrive at a new destination and still feel as though you're in your homeland, but with more to grow and learn from. We, as I stated, have the largest Korean population in America, one of the largest, and we also have a very friendly environment for Korean travelers, as well as those who decide to relocate here for one reason or another. When you look at Flushing, Queens, in Manhattan, we have Koreatown. You see some of the great stores, Guha Market and San Senso, San. Many of the other market locations, the New World Mall and Alumni on Northern Boulevard, very well known. This is a place that our Korean global travelers find a very comfortable place to move around and feel comfortable in. You know, we have over 56 million tourists that arrived here in our city last year. We're looking to have 65 million this year. So not only do we have a real outreach for the Korean communities that are here and people feel comfortable, but you also enjoy exploring the city. Everything from Times Square to the Empire State Building, our beautiful beaches, our theater, our shopping. You know, anyone who has ever come here with their children know that this is the place to shop, and they enjoy every part of this great city. There's a lot of hidden gems and lesser known aspects of New York City that the Korean community would truly enjoy.
Yeah, you know, before you got on this call today, Mr. Mayor, I talked about how I was in New York a couple of months ago, right? Flew Korean Airlines, went to the Paris Baguette for coffee, and at your infamous Hudson Yards program, now there's a complimentary Genesis car service allowed for some of the residents over there. So it was, for me as a Korean American, so special to see the importance of the Korean brands operating in your city. But let's talk about why the South Korean population in New York City is so important to you. Everywhere I see you, I know you're very friendly to the Koreans in New York City. Of course, you're friendly to everybody, but in particular, I found you to be so accommodating to the Korean population. Can you walk us through what makes Korea special to you and to New York City?
Well, I think it's the foundation. I like to say the foundational items that really allows the city to prosper and grow. When you look at it, the Korean community they believe in faith, they believe in family, they believe in business, and most importantly, they believe in public safety, which I believe is the foundation. The foundation to our prosperity is public safety. And the Korean economy is aligned with New York City's priorities now, and strong in clean energy, climate tech, smart cities, semiconductors, and life sciences. And when you look at that in our city, our strong cultural ties, we have over 100,000 Korean Americans living in New York City. They have been so supportive of me when I ran for office, and we are already seeing examples of that support and relationship. I'm just so pleased with Commissioner Kim, first Korean American to head Small Business Services. He brings the business and entrepreneurship. And so when you look at what it is to have a great resident in your city, you see the example of the men and women of the Korean community. They are very much engaged in civic life, volunteerism, and creating that healthy environment that cities need to grow and prosper. And so it's a real plus. Every time I see a new resident from Korea that state they made New York home, I just say there's another victory for us, and we want as many as possible. We don't want to deplete your citizenship, but they're always welcome here in New York.
And Mr. Mayor, you're going to host approximately 70 heads of state at the upcoming UN General Assembly program next week. Hey, we have our President Yoon visiting you next week in New York. I know we have the mayor of Seoul City. You're going to do a nice signing ceremony with them on the Sister City program. And don't forget our Foreign Minister Park Jin, who has done an amazing job promoting U.S. Korea partnership. And also he has very strong ties in New York City as well. So I hope that even if you're busy, I want you to give the Korean delegation some special living on our behalf, okay?
Yes, I have to do that. I feel sometimes I'm a citizen of Seoul also.
Yeah, and also we have some major Korean chairmen, chairwomen visiting your city next week. And again, a special support would be greatly appreciated.
Will do. I will let them know that you gave me clear instructions.
Yeah. Hey, the other thing is, your people, Ed Mermerstein here, he's not here to just play around. He's really here to do a lot of business, right? So we had a successful MOU with Korean Airlines Chairman Walter Cho. We had a successful MOU signing with the SPC President Ho Jin-soo. He's got a lot more in the pipeline for you. So when he goes back to New York, we're ready for another one, and it's going to be a big one, Mr. Mayor. So let's keep it ready to go. But from Korean investments in the U.S., or especially to your city, do you have any specific focus on where you want Ed and myself to focus on as far as new opportunities are concerned?
Yeah, I think so much comes to mind. First of all, technology and innovation, they are a driving force in shaping the future of cities worldwide. And we have been a hotbed for innovation across various sectors. And we believe that by creating a partnership, the finance industry, our Korean leaders have really become global and local leaders around finance. So we want investors in everything from Wall Street to media to real estate. We think that it really helps, since we are the financial capital of the world, greater innovations in fintech to show how we can better use the investment system to be more profitable. We like to share that we're just a place where innovation lives. We're the #2 tech hub in the world. And we're committed to supercharging our innovation economy and put jobs out there so that we could have high wage employment for our young people in the city. And we want to continue to do that. And life sciences is an area that we believe there's a lot of opportunity. We are investing $1 billion to further grow the sector. We expect it to see an $82 billion economic impact over the next 10 to 15 years, and leading to 1,000 companies, 40,000 jobs, and 10 million square feet in dry lab real estate. And so these are some important areas as we protect our environment, as we build our city, as we become financially stable. We want to make sure, lastly, as we move towards the future in energy, our focus is a great deal not only on batteries and battery storage and renewable energy, but we really want to build out our offshore wind. We want to be a nation leading climate goal of 100% clean electricity by 2040, and 10,000 offshore wind jobs by 2035 will help us lead the way.
And I believe New York City, if this was a country, would be like the 10th largest economy in the world,
Yeah.
which is a powerful testament. But I know that you're also very interested in Korean companies entering America, especially to your city. But I think the Korean government is also very interested in having more New York City companies investing in Korea. We have huge companies in Korea. Look at all the investments that Hyundai is doing in the United States. So let's bring a lot of wonderful, powerful companies from New York City to also partner with companies here in Korea. Samsung is also here, LG. So I think it's a real wonderful opportunity for you to also promote cross-border opportunities in Korea as well.
No, well said. And that's the type of relationship we want, global relationships and connections. Some of the products that are produced in Korea that are uniquely done there can be used here. Samsung, as you indicated, is a very popular phone brand. We also look at some of the cars from Hyundai and others. So there are real opportunities and possibility to invest in both countries.
Absolutely. One of AMCHAM's main mission here in Korea is to help make Korea a regional headquarters of Asia. And I think with your leadership, your proactive support, that can definitely happen. So I know that you have a very limited time today. I wanted to thank you so much. I know you have a lot of challenges going on tonight. And given those challenges, I'm so thankful that you've made time from your busy schedule to be with us. Any final comments to your audience here in South Korea?
I just want to really thank you. The community and the chamber has really put together a top-rated effort to build the relationship with those of us here in New York City. And I believe there's some real opportunities that are in front of us. I'm sorry I'm not there with you in person, but Commissioner Mermelstein is there, and he will share with you the real vision and the true vision that we have. But I look forward to being back in Korea again and meeting with the leadership there as we continue to forge ahead a future for all.
Yeah, and Mr. Mayor, you and I talked about this many times, but I want you here in Seoul because I think you being here in person could be really powerful. I know everybody wants to meet you. It's a great way to promote the city of New York and to enhance the partnership between Korea and yourself.
And I look forward to being there.
Yes, sir.
We will make that happen.
But thank you so much for coming, and I wish you a very productive trip with a productive visit with all the heads of state next week. And please be good to the Korean community.
Will do. Take care. Good
Thank
to
you,
see
sir.
Take care.
And I'll finish that with Commissioner Mimmerstein with the group on getting to some real closure on some opportunities. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let's give him a big round of applause.